Hello and welcome. It is time once again to try to fix something, and today on the workbench we have another PS5, and I believe this one is a dead one. I don't think it's supposed to be doing anything, but let's go ahead and get into it. We are plugged up, our HDMI connector is connected. Oh, eject beeps. Not so dead as we were led to believe. Okay, is this going to be another intermittent? This thing wasn't supposed to turn on at all, and that's kind of turning on. Okay, I'm wondering if this is another intermittent, because it was supposed to be a no power, dead, nothing. And here it is, obviously turning on. So I guess what I'm going to do is let it sit here and run for a while, and let it get nice and toasty warm, and see if anything strange happens. That's all I'm going to do at this point, because that's working. Alright, well, I decided to let this thing do an update. You can see the Ethernet cord in the back. And it downloaded the update and went to installing it. And when it came time to reboot, it never came back on. So it's been sitting here about a minute doing absolutely nothing. So, yeah. This may be our intermittent problem showing up now. What's she gonna do? Eject. Still has power. But okay, the power button did nothing right then. It beeped, but no lights. And now the power eject still makes it beep. Power doesn't do anything. Okay. Alright, so I just pulled the power on it and plugged it back in, and it came back up on its own. I did not hit the power button. That is some strange behavior. I just pulled the AC power out for a few seconds, plugged it back in. I was getting ready to hit the power button, and I never got a chance to. Strange behavior. Well, I decided to reset the console, and now it has become a blue light of death. It's been like this for a couple of minutes. So again, very strange behavior. Alright, after several minutes of it just sitting there flashing blue, I finally unplugged it. Plugged it back in, and it will beep when you press the power button, but we get no lights, nothing else. It will beep repeatedly. So we'll eject. No lights. So yeah, very strange. Well, it is the next morning. I left this PS5 unplugged overnight just to see what it would do the next morning if it was totally cold. And it is pretty cool out here. Let's see what it does. And look, we're trying to turn back on. So is this going to be a temperature related thing? You know, it's got to be. A white light. Oh, I didn't hook the video cable up. Let's see if we can hook our video cable up. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have some video. Yep. So this is going to be a strange one. It does seem to be temperature related. Now finding it could be an issue. What I'm probably going to have to do is to warm it up in some way artificially. Or just have it running on the bench with the covers off maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it looked like it did finally finish resetting. But there for a while it would not even turn on. Or it just beep, if you recall. So yeah, I'm not sure what we're going to find on this one, but we're going to have to find something. Let's get to it. Well, I installed a game from the Blu-ray drive, and it has been running for several minutes now with no issues. But it is kind of cool out here in the garage. It's probably about 60 degrees, 55 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that. So a little on the cool side. And I wonder if that's helping this thing run. But I have a feeling that problem's going to come back. Alright, I left the game running. I left the console running a game for several hours. Came back out here to check it, and it is off. It is not asleep, because I don't see any amber yellow colored lights in there. It looks like it has shut off. So let's see what it will do. Okay, it's back to doing the beeps but no lights. Oh, then she decided to turn back on. I bet she's going to be doing a drive recovery now, because I don't think it shut down properly. Very strange. And very intermittent. And now we're back flashing blue again with nothing on the screen. Oh, I hate intermittence. Alright, as I am taking the covers off of this, I did notice that it has been opened. It is not sealed, so we've got that going for us. Alright, we are down to the main circuit board, and it's looking clean. I don't see any major disasters anywhere. We may see more when we get it, under the microscope where we can see a little bit better. But before we do that, I want to try something. I have purchased another identical board to this. Well, it's not identical because this is a digital edition board, and this is the Blu-ray edition. But otherwise, they're both EDM10 boards, and I bought this as a non-working board, and I want to see if I've got it fixed. The only problem, it came in a soft bag, unfortunately, and I wish they'd packed it better, but it had a capacitor knocked off the board when I got it. One of those right there. I think it was, yeah, one of those. But I knew exactly where it went. I saw it. Luckily, it fell out and hit me on the foot. So anyway, I found the capacitor, put it back, and it had a really bad job done on the HDMI port. I mean, the pins are not even touching. So I want to see if this is a working board, because the idea is that this will become my comparison board. Whenever I'm working on one of these models of the EDM10, and maybe in some ways the EDM20, but I'll have something to compare to. I'll have hopefully a working board to make comparisons to. So I'm going to try that in this chassis right now. Alright, I've got my spare digital EDM10 board in here just for testing, because I did some work on it, and I need to know if it's, if I wasted my money on this thing or not. Let's see what she does. Okay, fan spins, flashing light. Give me some video. No video yet. I don't have the clamp on the thing, and it shut off. I did not put the clamp on it. All right, let me try it again here. Did not put the clamp on it. In my haste. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay. Well, I may have a working board here, which, like, my intention is not to put this in a console. My intention is to keep this around as a comparison board. But that looks promising. She's restarting, but okay. We've got something to compare to. This will help us on this board we've got to fix right there. Maybe we can find whatever is breaking down or dying. There we go. Okay, let's get both these boards inside and see if we can figure out what's going on with that one. All right, we are inside at the workbench, and I'm not quite sure how we're going to find this problem. I'm going to start off, I think, with just doing some resistance checks. This is our working board, our working digital board, and this is our non-working Blu-ray board. And I did test. This is that digital board that I had bought separately. It was not banned. It's fully functional. I updated it. Was able to go and download a game off the PlayStation Network. So a fully functional board here. But what I bought it for is exactly this, just for making comparison measurements with. So I'm going to try to just start making some comparisons resistance-wise on some of these rails. Now I really don't think I'm going to find it this way, because I have a feeling whatever this is going to be temperature sensitive. Try to get everything in the shot. I have a feeling unless I heat this board up, we're just not going to see anything. And maybe what it comes down to, putting it in the chassis and turning it on and letting it run till it quits, and see what rails, if any, are failing. Because what I'm thinking is that we may have a failing ceramic capacitor, but it could be almost anywhere. Because we've seen those fail. They fail a lot. They didn't use the highest quality capacitors on these boards. So maybe we start checking on some of these fuses. Not that I have a blown fuse, but a fuse pretty much indicates a power rail. So let me drop my leads. And just zero this meter out. Alrighty. I'm not even sure if you can see that meter. No, there's a nice glare, isn't there? Well, that's better. Alright, here's F7001. 2-3 k ohms climbing. Yeah, you can see it. And if we go over here, very, very similar. So I'm going to be doing a whole lot of that, and I'll probably fast forward through a lot of this because this is going to be really time consuming. But I'm just going to be making comparisons on identical points between the two boards. Well, nothing is jumping out at me, so I think I'm just going to give this board a good look over under the microscope, which is maybe what I should have done at the beginning. But we're going to give it a good look over. But I don't think it's ever been touched, but maybe something will jump out at us. Well, so far I haven't done any good with this PS5, so I decided to just stick the board back in the chassis in here on the workbench and turn it on and see if we can get it to fail and see if we can find any voltages that are missing when it does fail, because it will fail. So let me see if she will turn on. I didn't bring my controller in here though. Turn on the AC voltage over here. Okay. Is she going to decide to come up this time, or is it going to fail? No, we're coming up. We've got the PlayStation logo. Okay, if we can just wait till it fails now. It wasn't turned off properly because it has not been shutting down properly sometimes. Let me get a controller. All right, this is getting very confusing. I decided just to see what it would do if I put it in sleep mode. And what it did is it flashed the yellow light like it should, and then the yellow light went off, which I think it should sit there and flash continuously, letting you know that it's in sleep mode. So, but the yellow light went off. So then I tried to, wake it back up with the power button, and it did not come on. It just beeped. So, and that's the state it's in right now. I have not unplugged it, and I was just kind of checking around for some voltages. And I do have, I think, what is this? I do have 5 volts, no problem. I have, looking up here, let me switch the camera. Up here, I do have, I think it's, is it here? No. Right up there, yeah. 3.3. 3.3 and 5 are there. But I believe there should be a 1.8 right in here. Standby. And I'm not getting that at all. If this diagram is right, 1.8 volts right down in here. Really on that whole chain of components, looks like. Should be, you can see where it kind of comes in, I think, through that via right there on the board. That 1.8 volts is not there, and according to this, it's supposed to be a standby supply, which should always be there when you're plugged in. So is this a hint as to what's going on? I don't know. But on that same, yeah, I'm on that same, you can see the via right there where they come in. I believe that should be 1.8 standby, and it's not there. Can't help but think that that's a clue. That's the rail that's falling down sometimes. Alright, well, at the moment it is on and running. However, I am noticing a problem. Out in the garage, I connected a Ethernet cable into it, to give it an update and let it get the date and time correct and all that. But now I'm in here at the workbench. I'm trying to get it to connect to Wi-Fi, and it will not detect my Wi-Fi access point, although we're about maybe 8 feet from it. And if I try to use the WPS option down here, admitting something went wrong. So is this related to our other issues? The fact that it will not detect any wireless networks, no matter what I try. I'm scanning. She's not detecting anything. And the cables are connected, all of them. Interesting. Alright, so as I was saying, the Wi-Fi Bluetooth module, or the Wi-Fi part of it, seems to be not working. So that's the module. I've already ordered 2 of them. Of course, it's going to be a while before they get here. I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and pull it off and try to reball it. And I don't know if it's going to make any difference. It's not going to cost me anything but some time and some solder balls. But on the PS4, the 1200 series, they had a problem there where these things would fail, and when you went to take them off, you would see there would be like some of the pads underneath this module would just be like a dull gray, and they looked like solder had never bonded to them. They may have improved their soldering process by now, but still, I think it won't take me too long to pull that module off and just see how that looks underneath it. Do see one pad that looks kind of dull and gray there. That's kind of what I was talking about. Looks like that's a ground pin. I have to say the rest of them look pretty good, just that one. And which was probably connected right there. So yeah, I don't know if that's our issue or not. I really don't. But we will reball it and give it a try. Alright, well, our Wi-Fi Bluetooth module has been reballed and reinstalled, and we are ready to see if we've made any difference whatsoever. Power is on. Let's see if she will still turn on. Yep, she turns on. So start. My monitor is connected. Are we going to get a picture this time? We are. Okay. Now, is our Wi-Fi going to work? I mean, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, but how about 3 out of 3? All right, we are in network settings. Settings. Set up internet. No. We are still not seeing Wi-Fi. So I think we're going to have to wait for a new module to come in. Well, at least it'll be easier to take off and replace because it's got leaded solder balls under it now. So that's something. All right, well, it's a new day and a new problem. The weirdness continues with this console. This morning I turned on the AC power over there, and it immediately gave me the 3 beeps. Which, that 3 beeps, as soon as you apply power, is an indication that the flash memory has become corrupted. It can't read its firmware. Which might make sense with all the weirdness that's been going on. So I'm going to try it again here. I'm not sure if it'll do it at this time, but I'm going to try it. I'll put the AC power on, see what it does. Nope, didn't do it that time. It's like random stuff, which makes me think it is that flash memory IC. I mean, it was last night. It was doing really weird random things. The 1.8 volt supply over here on the HDMI circuit, which is generated by that IC right there, it wouldn't come up sometimes. Sometimes it would. About half the time it wouldn't. So yeah, just weirdness. And corrupt firmware might explain a lot of weirdness. So what I'm going to try to do, I think, is remove that IC, which is, it'll be near the south bridge on the opposite side of the board. It's either over here or over here, I can't remember. But so I have to take the board completely out, and I'm going to desolder that IC and put it on my reader and read its contents. I'll save it, probably read it several times and save it. But apparently you don't have to have that exact firmware. You can download off the internet firmware for this model. It has to match the board revision, and whether it's a a Blu-ray version or not. And this is a board version EDM010 that also has the Blu-ray drive mechanism connectors there. So I have to get a matching firmware. So I'm going to try that, remove it, and I don't have a new chip, so I'm going to try writing it back to that chip and see if this helps us. Alright, our flash BIOS IC has been removed. Its contents read and backed up. I read it 3 times. It read the same way every time, and I have those saved and backed up. And then I wrote a fresh BIOS, not the same file, one I downloaded off the internet, because apparently the BIOS, the flash memory on here, on that BIOS chip, is not unique to this console. It's unique to the board, and there are certain, whether it's a disk version or not, but other than that, there's no per console information on there, so we can do this. And I did note that the checksum was different between the file that I read and the file that I then wrote back on there, the different file. So we are at a point to see if this has helped us in any way. We're reassembled, heatsink clamp is back on, ready to apply some power. It didn't beep immediately, then it did beep. Oh, it's still beeping. It's still beeping, which is still a flash memory error. So I don't think she's going to work at all, is she? So do we have a bad flash IC? I don't know. Not good. Okay. Where are we now? We are actually worse off than we were. At this point, it does not even try to... The South Bridge does not seem to try to initialize. Like, the current draw is 8 milliamps flat. Never shoots up to 300 and come back down. It just sits there like it's dead. And I did try... I reflashed that flash memory IC for the BIOS back to the original, contents. No difference. It's not accessing it. I don't think. I don't think that's the issue. It's not even trying to access the flash memory. It never gets that far. And what I've noticed is, looking at my good board over there, this IC, the South Bridge is on the other side. It gets several voltages. It gets I don't know if I can get this to focus. 3.3, 1.8, several voltages, and it varies depending on whether you're in standby or not. But what I've noticed is I'll get 3.3, I think right here and over here. But here on the working board, I think this goes to 3.3 momentarily. Like during the initialization, you'll see it come up to here and then it goes away. It doesn't happen here. And also what I see right here on this inductor going into the South Bridge, if I can show you, is about a 37 ohm resistance to ground. And on my working board, that is 10k ohms. So yeah, something going on there. Is it the South Bridge though, or is it something else on that line? Because I don't know where this comes from exactly. Because it is definitely switched. It's not straight off the 3.3 volt supply. It's switched in some way, and I'm not sure where it's switched. But that 3.3, which is generated, where is it generated? Oh, this is the 3.3, I believe, right over here. And on the opposite side of the board from this is the 1.8. Get that lead out of the way so it'll stop upsetting my focus. So 3.3 is coming from right here, this IC. Takes in 5, puts out 3.3. And on the opposite side of the board, same type thing, but it outputs 1.8. And those are both involved in feeding this South Bridge. But at some point, it is switched into this leg, I believe it is. One of these was getting 1.15 on the good board, one of them is getting 3.3. But this is the one that does not look right. I'm getting 36.8 ohms. And I don't know why. What I need to do, I suppose, is lift this inductor and see if the low resistance is this way or if it's from the source side. Alright, so the chase is still on. I lifted that inductor feeding into the South Bridge, and the low resistance was on the South Bridge side of it. So I double checked on my working board, and this is supposed to get 3.3 volts. This one gets 1.15. and that's during the initialization. Like you apply power, fraction of a second later, 3.3 comes up here, and 1.15 comes up here, or it's supposed to. It goes in other places, but these are switched, momentarily on initialization. And anyway, so I want to make sure what voltage is supposed to be there, because I'm going to feed in 3.3 volts, or 3.2 I think I'm set for. And let's see what gets warm, because there are 2 or 3 capacitors right there. Now, it's probably the south bridge, but why not go ahead and check? So I'm going to switch to the thermal cam, and let's just see what gets warm. If anything, it's still like, 38 ohms. Okay, I think the thermal cam is hooked up and working. All right, I've got my power supply set for 3.2 volts at 1 amp. And let's just see what we get here. I think I'm pointing in the right general area. Yeah. We're drawing 200 milliamps. And the only thing getting warm is the south bridge itself, looks like. Yeah, I think the heat's coming from the other side. $233 milliamps at 3.2 volts. Right in this area. Yeah. See if I can flip the board over. Pretty sure it's just coming from the south bridge itself. Look at it glow. So yeah, we need another 61 GG. And that may have been our problem the whole time, this thing dying. Okay. I think that's what we need. All right, where are we on this PS5? It has been several weeks since I've touched this particular PS5. I had some south bridges ordered. I need a south bridge. We have a 42 ohm short on a power supply going into the south bridge. And it's, of course, the 61 GG. They're very expensive here in the US. I had some ordered from China, and they have disappeared. They have not been seen in over a month. The tracking's disappeared. So I had to break down and buy some from a vendor here in the United States and pay a ridiculous price for them. But anyway, I do have 2, so we're going to get on with this repair. Let me get this board in the preheater, and we'll get this south bridge changed out. Well, our south bridge has been changed, and I'm ready to test to see what our current draw looks like. Hoping for a normal, like 14 milliamps, and then shoot up to 300 and come back down. That's what I'm hoping for, to show that our south bridge is alive and well. I believe our board is cooled off enough. I'm setting my 12 volts at 1 amp. Trying to make sure I got my polarity right. I do not want to kill this board at this point. Yep, plus is there on the right. Let's see what we get. That's not good. I don't believe our 32 kilohertz oscillator is running. Okay. That probably means I need to clean out from under that south bridge. I'm sure it has flux all up under it because I have not tried to clean out from under it yet. Let me do that. All right, I have heated the chip up slightly, flushed some alcohol under it, blew it out with compressed air just to get the flux out from under there. And let's see what we do. That looks better. There we go, 300 milliamps. Come back down. Yep. All right, that looks normal. I think we're running. Now, hopefully we're ready to try this out there in the garage. This board had some, it's been a few weeks for me, but I know it had some weird behavior. It would sometimes turn on, sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes if you put it in sleep mode, it would shut off. The Wi-Fi wasn't working. And toward the end there, when I was working on it, it would give the 3 beeps like the firmware was dead. So I'm wondering if all that was related to a south bridge that was in the process of dying. I'm hoping that was the case. I still have not replaced this Wi-Fi module. I do have some if I need to, but I don't know. I think this was probably the Bluetooth, the south bridge was giving us all this weird behavior. So let's go out in the garage and give it a try. We are back out in the garage and ready to see if this PS5 will now turn on after our south bridge replacement, and see if it has any other strange behavior now. I'm connected, I have power, HDMI. Let's see what happens. That's a good start. I love a good fan spin. We're getting video. All right. Okay. Probably did not shut down properly because it was doing some weird stuff. The fan ramped up, and oh, you know what? I don't have the clamp on it. It shut. Let me put the clamp on it. It shut down. All right. Now that our clamp is installed and this thing has a fighting chance to cool itself, I still need to redistribute that, liquid metal. But what does she do now? Oh, I guess that was an off, and then back on. There we go. Probably have to do another hard drive check because it kind of shut off there. Now we're going to come on up this time. Okay. Yeah, it's unhappy about that. Okay. Where's my remote? I still do not have a PS5 supply. I've been too cheap to buy one. Because this is working for just checking things out. There we go. Now, does our Wi-Fi work, I wonder? That would be a miracle. And yes, it does appear that our Wi-Fi does work. So, that's progress. And it has a system software update to download, so I'm going to let it download that via Wi-Fi. That'll be a good test of the Wi-Fi, but I think she's going to work. Let's get it fully reassembled, though, and we'll do a final checkout. Alright, well, this PS5 is fully reassembled, and I had to restart my update because I didn't have the Blu-ray drive connected, so connected the Blu-ray drive, fully reassembled it, and so far, no weird behavior. She's running stable. She's connected to Wi-Fi. I've been able to download a game from the PlayStation Network, so she's not banned. That's always a plus. But yeah, I think she's gonna be living again. Someone will enjoy it again. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed that one. Thought it was interesting or educational. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, and I will see you in the very next repair. So long for now.